From Limerick Field here in Alexandria, Virginia, the Reds would like to thank our ASA club partners, the City of Alexandria, Alex Renew Eisenhower Partnership, PI Training, Lost Boys Cider, Kenya Knight State Farm, and Ortho Virginia for their generous support of Alexandria Soccer Association. And we'd like to thank Capelli Sports, the official outfitter of ASA. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for today, which are brought to you by Kenya Knight State Farm. We help you protect what matters. First for the visiting Virginia Dream and head coach C.J. Taylor, Lorenzo Herrera will be in goal. James Fillerman, the captain, will wear number 2. Number 5 is Dominique Kose-Hase. Manzi Shalita wears number 8. Number 9 is Nicholas Laculia. Number 13, Robert O'Neill. Number 15, Eric Kilosho. Demetrius Shepard-Lewis wears number 20. Number 21 is Open Martinez. 22 is Michael Akinkoye. And number 98 is Zumera Diarra. Let's take a look at the Alexandria Reds. And as we see their starting lineup, in goal will be Dominic Dominguez with number 0. Number 2 is Conrad Brady. Moad Ezahir sports number 5. Christian Rodriguez number 6. Thomas Woodings wears number 7, and Logan Stern number 8. Number 10, Abdul Kamara. Number 13, Dimitri Turner. James Vandehei wears number 15. Number 18 is Mudiaga Yaga, and number 23, Osi Onwadiwe. So those are the starting lineups for both Virginia Dream FC and the Alexandria Reds, and they're presented by Kenya Knight State Farm. Dan Lang alongside Nick Papadis on a sweltering Thursday evening here at Limerick Field in Alexandria, Virginia. Temperatures pushing 90 degrees. Of course, we are standing atop a turf field, so a bit more zesty than the 90 degrees. And Nick, when you take a look at this evening's matchup, you see Virginia Dream FC. They're atop the table coming in against Alexandria. Now, Virginia Dream FC has played 6 matches to the Reds 4 so far.
Yeah, and this is really going to be a great test for both teams, as it's probably their most competitive match thus far. The Reds coming in off a couple tough matches, playing DMV Elite, District Elite in the first match of the season, and then a tough one against Grove United, while Dream taking their match against the Rough Diamonds, who have had a rough start to the season as their early season play in games.
Yeah, you look at Virginia Dream FC, and they've already scored 43 goals.
Most of those coming against the Rough Diamonds, who, much like last season, off to a little bit of a rough start to the campaign so far. They'll be looking to piece together the second half of their campaign. They played a really front-loaded schedule, though, as has Dream. 6 games at this point in the season. It's not unheard of, but it is a lot in a short time period where most of the rest of the teams try to kind of stretch it out over the course of the whole season.
Pluses and minuses to that tactic of playing so many here early on as Fillerman feeds away.
Well, the big thing is you look at your roster composition, and every team knows their guys. They know when guys are coming in from college, when guys are leaving for college. And if Dream is concerned about having guys leaving as the college season begins to prepare to start, they might have wanted to early front load that schedule, where the Reds kind of on the opposite side of that, where they've got a lot of guys that didn't come in quite so early, coming in from a little bit farther, some really big programs, and they were more comfortable playing a backloaded schedule.
So really, when you look at it, there's still a lot to be settled, even though, as I said, Virginia Dream FC enters the day atop the table undefeated, and right now Alexandria Reds are sitting 3rd on the table.
Well, the beauty of the NPSL is that at any given moment, anybody can knock off any other team in the league. Maybe minus the bottom 1 to 2 teams might have a rough go of it the whole season. But for the most part, there's a lot of parity in the league, and every team just looking to get into the playoffs, looking to get into that picture. As we've seen time and time again, anything can happen. The team that made the finals the last 2 times and won one of the last 2, Annapolis Blues, no longer in the NPSL, moving over to USL 2, so wide open field this season.
With Annapolis moving, they take their large fan base with them as well.
They broke a lot of records here in the NPSL for attendance, now doing the same in USL 2. And the thing to remember is these 2 teams, of the past 3 champions, this is 2 of the 3. So Annapolis won won one championship, and both of these teams have played Annapolis in the final over the past 2 years. Last year, Dream getting that conference win over Annapolis. The year before, it was the Reds who fell to Annapolis in a penalty shootout, with now GW goalkeeping coach Nick Conklew in the net for the Reds that year.
When you look at that and you see and say that, how much does, I mean, obviously it matters, but roster turnover is so big, as that's going to end up out. Roster turnover is so big. How much does that really mean? How much stock do you put in that?
Well, it depends, and you look at the lineups. Like for Dream from last year, they've got some familiar faces. They've got Fillerman that's a returner. They've got Akinkoye that's a returner. But then for the Reds, they've got guys like this guy on the ball right now, Holden Woodings, who's a key player last year as he drives forward.
Woodings now chasing it down. So talk about Woodings a little bit and what he brings.
He's just a dynamic player. He started out as a Division I player at UNC Greensboro, turns around and transfers to Catholic University in Division III, and ends up being a COSADA All-American at that level. So it just shows you how talented he is. He was accomplished at the D1 level, but wanted to come back more locally, and has done so.
Wanted to be around his family?
Yeah, he's a local guy. He's from the Bethesda area, and there was just some appeal to coming back home for him. He's also a key part of that team for Coach Connor Keenan, who comes into his first year. When Holden transferred back, it was Travis Beesham, the head coach, now his former protege, Keenan, taking the reins.
Firing away there is Diarra. Not sure if he's related to Muhammad Diarra, who took the nation by storm as part of the NC State Wolfpack basketball team a couple years ago.
A little bit of a height difference there, I'm going to guess.
Yes.
Gonna guess that one might be more of a soccer player and the other more of a basketball player. But
Muhammad, a dynamic smile that just burst across the screen during the Final Four.
So many ties to Alexandria in this team for Virginia Dream as well. About half their squad either having formerly played for the Reds or played their youth soccer here in Alexandria, one of the best areas for development in the entire DMV here in Alexandria, Virginia, and it can be seen by how many players born and raised here in the city playing on the field on both sides today. There's one of the local products. Lorenzo Herrera played for the U19 MLS Next here in Alexandria.
Fillerman getting it back in, trying to move it to Shalita. Fillerman, the captain of this squad, 28 years old, a veteran of the league.
He's played at all different levels. He played for the Bobcats, Maryland Bobcats up at the Soccerplex in the Maryland Super Soccer League. They also play in a couple different competitions up there, and other ties to that team as well. Michael Akinkoye, formerly playing for the Bobcats. So those two guys having some chemistry, having some history playing together.
There's Fillerman. Fires forward. Shalita. Players came out a few minutes later than usual because of the heat. How much does the heat, I mean, we talk about heat with football a lot, American football. How much does heat affect soccer players and, of course, playing on turf today?
The temperature on the turf is typically 8 to 10 degrees warmer than the atmospheric temperature that you might see on your documentation on your phone. Mm-hmm. But it really comes in late in the match as fatigue becomes a bigger and bigger part.
Thus, they came out a little bit later to try to save that a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a tough balance. You try to come out, you try to get your warm-up in. You need to get quality warm-up, but you also can't burn guys out, so it becomes really important.
Of course, then you've also got to figure out what they were doing earlier today and how much they may have been burned out from whatever they were working on earlier this morning and this afternoon.
Well, for these Alexandria guys, some of them will be out coaching in the next couple weeks. Alexandria Soccer Association summer camps, but doesn't start till next week.
Can you still sign up for those?
You can sign up.
What's the best way and the easiest way to sign up for the soccer camps if the youngsters still want to?
Well, there's tons of options coming up. Alexandria-soccer.org is where you'll want to go, and then /camps. You can go check out all the great options. We've got our advanced evening camps. They'll be coming up in a few weeks' time. We've got an all-girls camp coming up for the first time this year. And we're really excited to be out at GW Middle School for the first time. Great facility there. So looking forward to getting out with all the youth next week and beyond as the kids begin to get out of school.
So lots of options to tweak, work on, improve one's soccer skill this summer.
And the best part is if you're a Reds fan, you get to see some of these players out as a coach. Gregorios Chatsopoulos will be working camp next week, substitute on the bench today for the Reds. Several other guys will be involved as well throughout the course of the summer.
So that'll be pretty exciting to get knowledge disseminated from the players that you're watching here on this fine evening.
Well, it's also just a really exciting thing for a young player to be able to be coached by a guy in the morning and then turn around and come see him play at this top level of the U.S. soccer amateur pyramid. It's not a bad service there from Eza here. I had Lorenzo checking his distances, getting a measure there.
Looking around.
Interesting fact about him, he'll be a kicker, American football kicker next year at Bowie State.
It's a nice option.
He had his soccer options, but found his love by putting on the pads and taking field goals and kickoffs. So
there have been a good number of players that have made that leap. Fans, stay up to date for the latest news, scores, and stories. Follow your WPSL Reds on Instagram and online. Follow them on Instagram, Alexandria_Pro Women, or online at Alexandria Reds.
The men's is Alexandria_Pro_. If you want to check out the men's social media as well. But the website, the same for both.
Yep.
You can see the rosters, you can see the profiles, get to know the players on the team. Akinkoye across to take this one. His brother, Danny Akinkoye, former AU Eagle. Now his younger brother, Michael, suiting up for Virginia Dream.
As Akinkoye tried to make the move there to Ramirez Gamez. Of course, the Alexandria Reds are donning the red uniforms, and Virginia Dream FC the black uniforms this evening.
Well, black uniforms on a 91-degree day, bold choice, but trying
Indeed.
to make a statement. It is hot. I would not want to be in anything that made the temperature even any warmer. That said, their pink uniforms might have conflicted color-wise with
the red.
The red, or at least possibly in the mind of the officials.
Making a move is Eza here as he tumbles down.
What a run that is from Eza here, the left back charging forward, driving the open space. And he's just going to keep developing into a really, really dynamic outside back. Plays at American University. finished his freshman year, going into his sophomore year, Springfield native, and coaching staff really looking to get him involved more. They see him as somebody that might make an impact down the road.
Just his first year, though, with Alexandria.
It is, and you know, the coaching staff at American recommended him highly. And you can see why.
That goes just high.
Moody Yaga climbed well for that. He was involved in a little bit of a tussle at the back post, and Luculia, is that Luculia having a word with the official? Didn't like that. This is former teammate Yaga. Luculia applied his trade last summer with the Reds.
So a little chippy, maybe a little pride as well on the line.
You never like to go up against a guy that you played against, especially when you're used to battling him in training and now he's against you.
Nil-nil, playing in minute number 14 here in Alexandria, Virginia, between the Alexandria Reds and Virginia Dream FC. Herrera feeding ahead toward the captain, James Fillerman. I want to remind you, Ortho Virginia is a proud partner of Alexandria Soccer Association. Ortho Virginia orthopedic specialists can treat your bone, muscle, joint, and back pains and strains. Ortho Virginia is the largest orthopedic practice in Virginia. To schedule an appointment, visit orthovirginia.com. orthovirginia.com.
It's a lovely touch there. That's really driven in at him and did well to take that first touch under pressure.
Martinez looking for a friendly. What are the biggest things? And question might be a little off because everybody's working on something different, but overall, what are the biggest things that these guys are working for to improve their games? We talked about camps and, you know, the youth. Well, what are these guys working on when they go back, most of them going back to college here in a little while? What are they working on here to shore up their game as they go back to college?
Well, the biggest thing is continuity and consistency. They're looking to be able to execute things at a high level on
Crisper.
Just on a consistent basis. I had a coach that was a really high-level coach tell me a long time ago, what separates the pros and everybody else isn't who can make the flashiest play. It's who can do the little things 99.999% of the time. So that's what these guys are trying to get to. They're trying to work on how to press, how to get into the right spaces at the right time, how to be really sharp in little moments, as that one lacks a little sharpness there from the AR as he's seeing that one out and pointing for a corner. You know, a lot of these guys, their main goal is compete at a high level, play with high-level players, and come back stronger. The best way to improve is always just to play against the best players around, and you got exactly this, as the referee having word with a couple of players there.
It's been a fairly tame match so far, much more tame than the match a few nights ago.
Well, that was a sight to behold. I watched a bit of the footage the other day. It's well disciplined from the back line for the Reds there to get out of the box, get that player offside. He's appealing. He had no way of seeing how far offside he really was.
Coming out to a home game, stop by Lost Boy Cider for a locally crafted experience before or after the games.
Just down the hill from Limerick Field here. Great spot to have a pre- or post-match refreshment. Nice cold one after a hot day like this.
Do they have a nice menu as well, or just cold ones?
They've got plenty of options for those that like dry ciders, Irish-style dry ciders.
Woodings feeds over.
Turner did so well there as the defensive midfielder, the veteran from James Madison. Got across, showed well for the ball, got the ball to his feet, and moved it. It's exactly what you want to see from a defensive central midfielder.
Turner wearing number 13 this evening.
And, you know, he's a veteran. He's graduated now. He finished his 4th year looking to stay competitive at a high level. Plays for the Reds UPSL side as well. One of the captains in that group. Now here in the NPSL squad as well. Yeah, I was talking to the owner of Lost Boy one time, and he said he went on a trip to Ireland and tried the dry ciders for the first time, and he loved them, and he was looking for them here in the Northern Virginia area. Couldn't find what he was looking for, and opted to
just open his own place.
Open his own. I mean, he studied the craft, and now he's the proud owner of one of Virginia's 300+ cideries, wineries, or meaderies.
But the only proud sponsor that is a cidery of the Alexandria Reds.
And it is very much wine country, but not necessarily cider country here in Northern Virginia and in the state of Virginia.
Perhaps it'd be a nice plug-ola option to try it, and that way we can talk about it on the broadcast.
I've had a couple over at Lost Boy events after Reds games here. 2 years ago, we had the post-game at the last game of the season. We had a little happy hour there.
There's Diarra trying to thread the needle.
Oh, it's a really good link-up play. Just the final pass, not quite there. Diarra moved really well inside and moved off his pass. He played it into feet, was looking for that layoff right at the top of the box, maybe about 30, 35 yards out. Just a little bit off on the final pass. As a here, dancing back and forth, doing a bit too much. Don't disagree with the call there, but the spot maybe a little advanced of where the foul occurred, or the initial foul occurred.
Is that the discussion from Woodings?
That's probably that and then a little bit more, if I had to take a guess. This is pretty well what you can expect in a highly competitive game like this. What a foot in that is from Turner to deflect that. That might have been on target, causing problems for Dominguez. Again, that's just where having a really experienced player.
Yeah, we've seen that shine through a couple times now.
Yeah, and, you know, he started just about every game for James Madison. He's probably one of the highest level players in terms of experience. He's played a ton of minutes at the collegiate level, at a very high level, no less. Perennial powerhouse, JMU.
Fillerman, the captain, was trying to look toward Shalita.
And this is where the Reds need to, in transition moments like this, the Reds need to look for a switch to the right side. That player right there, O'Neal for Dream. The right back loves to get advanced and tuck in almost as a additional center mid. And that opens up the space in behind. If you get a player with the pace of Woodings or the pace of OC up top, you can probably look for a diagonal ball in behind.
Much to the dismay there of Virginia Dream FC coach C.J. Taylor.
Yeah, his player let the Reds off the hook there. Did well initially to put on the pressure, but ultimately a little bit too handsy and getting called for the foul.
Nil-nil in the 23rd minute. There at Limerick Field, Alexandria, Virginia. Alexandria Reds, Virginia Dream FC.
Virginia Dream having their most successful season thus far, making a deep run in the U.S. Open Cup, beating USL League One side Richmond Kickers down in Richmond after making it through amateur qualification before having their dream put to an end by Loudoun United of the USL Championship.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it teed itself up. I mean, it is credit where credit's due. It was a really impressive campaign from them to go down and beat a professional team after getting through amateur qualification, one of the only teams from this region to qualify through amateur qualification and then to win a match. The other one coming from up in Pennsylvania.
Reds looking to get on the board. Well, that's going just a little. You were looking for a call?
I was looking for a corner there. I think that last shot did take a deflection out. You could see by the way the keeper reacted that it wasn't a direct shot, but it was deflected. He was making a dive as if it was headed somewhere else, and that's usually a key sign that there was a deflection on the way through.
Want to remind you, join us on June 15th when the NPSL men's team takes on DMV Elite, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here at Limerick Field or online. Check out our broadcast. What else would you want to do on June 15th? I can't think of anything.
Well, it'll be a nice quiet day after a busy weekend after Flag Day. Everyone's favorite holiday, probably the most recognized one.
Then we'll be out here again on Juneteenth. Here for a little soccer action at Limerick Field.
Brady did well there to hang that one up. A little miscommunication, though, between a couple of the Reds.
Herrera measuring that up.
Herrera did really well there. It's a tough one in traffic, especially when you got a big forward like Agre coming in at you. You don't want to have to come out into traffic for that one, but did well, got his knee up to protect himself and claimed that one in traffic. James Vandehei doing well there. Another homegrown player from the Alexandria Soccer Association MLS Next system.
Just completed his redshirt freshman year at High Point.
Well, and you can see that what a change that made for him from last year to this year. He came back about twice the size and strength, and just really putting in the work in the weight room and off the field over the past year.
Coloso, now Neal.
Ooh. That was not. I don't think that was meant to be a pass, but it almost worked out at the back post there.
Fillerman moving it over Coloso. Fillerman weaving his way.
This is going to be the first real test for Dominguez right on the edge of the box. You have to figure it's either going to be Laculia or Akinkoye over this one, as it is those two standing over it. That they'll be trying to sort out exactly who is going to take this as Dominguez covers his right post.
Nil-nil, 29th minute.
Five-man wall. Aggressive decision from Dominguez, leaving some space to his right. He'll feel comfortable getting down to it and feels he's set a good wall. From our angle, it looks a little bit slid to the right, but somehow
just off the mark.
Just enough from Dominguez.
Yeah.
He tipped that onto the post, and wow, that's great goalkeeping from the veteran.
So the bold move paid off.
That was, he was trying to entice the shot to his right. He feels more comfortable diving to his right based on that positioning of the wall. And wow, that he got away with one there. Just shows the Laculia, another experienced player. He's got to be pushing 30 now. I feel like he's another 28, 29-year-old that's been around the block for a while, played at a lot of different levels.
For those new to the conference, is there an age limit?
There's not any age limit. It is true amateur. Anybody can play as long as they feel, and more importantly, their coaching staff feels they're at the level.
Right. Yes, that would make sense and be a big key.
It is really one of those leagues that you get former pros that have since hung up their boots, returned to amateur status. You've got your true amateurs, collegiate guys. It really is a mixed bag.
Brady moving it to Rodriguez. Brady will take it back. And racing over on it there is Herrera.
Wooding's wishing he could have that one back. He knows he didn't quite strike it the way he had hoped.
Angle, power, or both?
Mostly power. He put it in a good spot, but at that along the ground, it's a little bit easier than if it's lifted about a foot. Nico Laculia just had his 29th birthday.
So you were right.
Yeah.
You're a veteran of this league as well.
Played with, again, Laculia, another player that played with the Reds last year. I think that's why some of this means more for him. Same for O'Neill, played for the Reds. Herrera, Alexandria Academy product. A lot of guys with a lot of ties to Alexandria, so this means more to them.
Ahead here, Laculia.
This is the battle to watch all day. The tail of the tape on that one's two guys that are well over 6 feet battling at it with Yaga and Laculia.
Yago wearing number 18 for Alexandria. Laculia number 9 for Virginia Dream FC.
Laculia kind of playing all over, played his collegiate soccer at UNLV.
So he's used to the heat, the humidity. Little Vegas option.
It's a silly challenge from Woodings.
Reds fans support ASA's Access for All initiative by joining the Red and Blue Club. To make a donation, visit alexandria-soccer.org/donate. Alexandria-soccer.org/donate. 0-0 for these two teams. 33rd minute here in Alexandria. Limerick Field. Top about 84 million gallons of water, most of which is treated. It's a lot of water.
That is a lot of water. It'll fill several Olympic swimming pools, though hopefully after it's treated.
That's a valid point. Martinez. Now Rodriguez.
Oh, no one there to get on the end of that one.
Like Woodings was just a little bit late getting there.
O'Neill late in on former teammate Logan Starron. Apparently no love lost between those two. This similar position to the one that Dream had just moments ago.
A yellow card caution has been issued to Virginia Dreams number 13, Robert O'Neill. The card occurs in the 34th minute.
So O'Neill with the yellow in the 34th minute. Woodings. Goes to work, as that was high. Fillerman. Now here's Woodings. Moving it over Rodriguez.
Too strong on the left foot there. O'Neill needs to be careful there. It's just about half the size of Starron, and Starron's strength too much for Ryan O'Neill. Especially after picking up that last yellow, he needs to be walking a tightrope now with the referee. Currently an assistant coach here in Alexandria after formerly playing for the Reds over the past couple seasons with both UPSL and NPSL.
The referee?
Nah, that was O'Neill. This referee actually came in from, he's out of town, he's not a local guy. A lot of the guys that ref these games are a little bit more local. He's here for an assessment from out of town. So this one goes back to Eza here.
Nice job there for Herrera. Where is he from? How many miles is he racking up on the old frequent flyer mile option?
You know, they didn't say where he was from. They did let us know he was traveling in, and
maybe a nice long car ride.
Typically, the assessment range is about 450 miles or less.
Okay.
So
maybe a train. Maybe a train.
We can assume likely from the Northeast.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which was a great movie, and we'll get to movie nights at Limerick, which is a big thing to focus on this summer. We'll talk about that coming up here momentarily. 0-0, 38th minute here at Limerick Field.
Van de Heij close to being in very late there. That would have been a certain card. Assistant referees flag up for offside.
You can join the Eisenhower Partnership for free family-friendly movie nights here at Limerick Field. Join us Saturday, June 21st and Saturday, July 19th for movie and treats from local vendors. More information can be found on the Eisenhower Partnership website and Instagram. Family-friendly, the key there. I don't know that planes, trains, and automobiles would be deemed family-friendly. There are a couple scenes of that, might not be. Hilarious movie, though, with John Candy and Steve Martin.
Taking a trip down Dan Lang's memory lane.
Mm-hmm. More of a holiday film. There's Herrera.
Bold choice there, but one that was a clever one from Herrera to come off his line. I think if he had stayed, Reds forwards might have been able to get on the end of that, but a keeper never loves having to head the ball. Not something they train for very often. Good link-up play from Fillerman there.
That was Fillerman again.
He really has been their shining star so far. Hasn't quite had anything kind of get on the end of what he would hope, but you see why he's the captain. He gets in the right spots. He plays the right passes. He's just versatile beyond a lot of the players around him. Captained the side in that campaign for the USL Open Cup, the U.S. Open Cup.
Of course, the U.S. Open, as far as golf goes, is ongoing this week at Oakmont.
Everybody always says game of inches for golf. Soccer can very much be the same, as we saw a few minutes ago with that free kick, maybe an inch from being a goal.
Fillerman quickly moves it over Martinez. Fillerman barking out what he wants his teammates to do. Martinez over toward Fillerman.
By the new letters of the law, should be a yellow card for Fillerman for walking away with the ball. That is now delaying a restart, which by the new IFAB laws of the game is an automatic yellow card. He also needs to be cautious doing things like that, but showing his veteran experience to slow things down. Chaotic run of play for both teams there in the last couple minutes. Neither team really able to maintain possession and settle things down. Touches are a little off. I think both teams will be happy to get in here to halftime in the next couple minutes. Long throw in here. Agre tried to get up for that one, mistimed his jump just a hair.
Kosei Hase was in on it. Another job there from Dominguez, moving it out.
Fillerman looking to get forward there and just a bit wide as Dominguez had that well covered had it been on frame. It's not quite the ball that Vandehei would have wanted to hit, but Wooding's so clever on the ball.
Moad Ezehir with the corner here for the Reds.
High and looping. Ezehir lifting those a little bit too much and no added time.
That's the end of the first half.
So the end
score
of
in
the first half,
Alexandria
0-0 between
Virginia Dream
Alexandria
FC,
Reds
0.
and Virginia Dream FC. Halftime is here at Limerick Field. We'll take it as well. Back with you in a few.
helps me control my stress.
Back here as we get set for second half action from Limerick Field here in Alexandria, Virginia. Alexandria Reds, Virginia Dream FC 0-0 as we get set for second half action. Virginia Dream FC atop the table entering the evening, undefeated in 6 matches. You have the Reds, who are third on the table with 4 matches played, a couple wins under their belt. And when you take a look at the fact that it is 0-0, and we mentioned at the onset of the broadcast how many goals Virginia Dream FC had scored, with it being 43, and that a lot of it was because of who they went up against. And so here it is a situation where they're going up against a better team, a more formidable opponent in the Reds. Thus, Virginia Dream FC has been held scoreless, so they keep Lorenzo Herrera in goal. It looks like the Reds are going to go with Bradley Winter in goal here to begin the second half. What does Winter bring over Dominic Dominguez?
Oh, they're just different guys. You know, it really is a pick'em, and it just shows the depth of the Reds team and pool to is not sure what the delay there was. It just shows the depth of the Reds pool. 4 goalkeepers that really can compete to play at this level. You've got Dominguez, you've got Winter, and then you also have Santino Inkpen, UNC Greensboro goalkeeper, who is not rostered for tonight with both keeper options having played tonight. And that's a bold strategy for first-year head coach Jim Hogan as he looks to get all of his players involved. You know, it's a balance. You want to get the goalkeepers involved, but he's put himself in a situation now where if Winter gets hurt or gets a red card, he could be in a precarious situation having to put a field player in net.
So that's an interesting component. So why do that? Just because of the idea of wanting to get guys minutes?
Well, the reality is here is this a competitive league? Yes. Every team is looking to compete. Every team is looking for results. Every team is looking to win. But the best teams are also looking to have these guys grow for their collegiate seasons. You're looking to send the guys back to college better than they came to you, and they don't get that if they don't play. So, you know, that just shows the motives of the Reds program here and the goals where they're trying to develop players. They're trying to do what's right for the soccer community as a whole and not just looking at the results and the results only.
0-0 here early on in the second half. Soccer fans, join us June 15th when the NPSL men's team takes on DMV Elite at 6 p.m. Eastern right here at Limerick Field or online with our broadcast. Again, that's June 15th, NPSL taking on DMV Elite, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll have it for you.
I just wasn't sure. I stopped.
Kosei Hase, now Herrera. Shepard Lewis. Much to the dismay of his coach.
Chirping the assistant referee from about 80 yards away. It's not the best way to win over the officials by antagonizing them from across the field. That's also what our fourth official right here is for, is to relay that message rather than screaming at them.
Here's Akinkoye.
You know, that's the thing that as coaches coach more, they begin to realize that picking moments becomes important, and an in, whether the ball's in or out for a throw-in, is not a moment that is always a battle you want to fight.
Shepard Lewis
That's a
getting it in.
good long throw, and not the best clearance from the Reds, but got it away at the second time of asking.
Kosei Hase looking forward instead. It'll go to O'Neal.
That's where O'Neal's the most dangerous, coming inside, checking into the half space as a false back, if you will. Outside back playing as a second six double pivot. Oh, the first touch so well for OC. Second one not quite on. Holden.
Woodings
left the ball behind. That's where the Reds are dangerous in the counterattack like that. Just those
The
little
speed.
moments, just quick transitions, quick play.
Shepard Lewis making the move here for Virginia Dream FC. Eza here, now here's Stern.
Eza here, as he develops more as a player, he's going to have to continue working on that left foot. He's a left back, but he does strongly favor that right foot as he looks to go outside the boot there. Optimistic, very optimistic ball from the young player. He's dangerous cutting in a three-back system. If he's a wing back in a 3-5-2, I think he'd be most effective because he can cut in. But as a left back and a four back, he's got to improve that left foot.
Is that what he deals with a lot in college?
You know, at the collegiate game, they're changing the system game to game. Coach Zach Samuel usually favoring a back four, but at times they do make that switch, and you have to be able to switch in formations at that level. You've got to be able to make changes. You know, he could be looking at a back three next year based on his recruiting class, based on his opponents in the conference or non-conference. So versatility becomes key. And looking at what the setup is here, I'd commit numbers forward if I were the Reds.
The kick comes in. Van de High.
Tried for something special there, and ultimately not the acrobatic move Van de High would have been hoping for.
Eza here. Looking to fire it in, asking, look like maybe trying to get Van de High to come in.
A little slip from Turner.
Shalita now chasing it down for the Reds. Brady.
Brady, Penn State, Nittany Lion. You'd expect to see a player like Laculia calmly finish that one.
Penn State University Park or Penn State Bonalto, or which Penn State?
He's at the Penn State, the one and only. Unless you're from Pennsylvania, that is. And
I was going to say,
there's about 20.
There are many satellite campuses, many which have teams, squads.
Just shows Holden Woodings drawing pressure from three there, really committing numbers to defend him. He's clearly the most dangerous attacker for the Reds, and a player that Dream is definitely worried about.
For the Dream Go show. Kosei Hase. Now Torres.
Lovely first touch there.
Shepard Lewis. Trying to sell it there was Starren.
Yeah, you got to give it a try. O'Neal complaining that the ball is flat despite the fourth official having done his due diligence prior to the match. It's one of his many roles. Did it more than effectively, but not to the satisfaction of Virginia Dream and their player at right back.
A veteran player, but we also saw the fourth official doing his duty.
Oh, you don't get to ref at this level if you can't do the little things like pump up a ball. Good tackle from Woodings. Late challenge from O'Neal. He's already on a yellow from the first half. Needs to be cautious as Agre did very well keep that in.
And grabbing it away, Jose Hase.
As here onto that favored right foot again. And that time it costs him because he has to come back into pressure. If he takes that touch on with his left foot, one step on, he can serve with the left and get a cross in to give the Reds a chance there.
How is that? How hard is that for a soccer player to be able to develop that with both feet?
Well, it's something that typically starts at the young ages. It's something you have to be dedicated to and commit the time to. But the thing to remember is it truly is never too late to start working on those little things. It's never too late to take care of just those technical bits, and you've got to be committed to it. It's a challenge to play with your weak foot. It's something that is uncomfortable. Players are typically not confident in doing so, but you just got to commit to it and commit to the bit and say, you know what, that's going to be my training focus. That's going to be my commitment going forward. Turner with a brilliant turn.
Turner feeding off. And that shot is going to go in. Osi able to hit the back of the net. And the Reds are on the board.
What a strike that is as the Reds take a lead. The first time Virginia Dream has conceded all season, and it's at the hands of a high schooler. Finished his senior year at Episcopal High School. Now going on to Virginia Tech as he tucks that one away.
Much to the dismay of Herrera.
Oh, there's no saving that one. It's an absolute missile over the goalkeeper. And Herrera, already not the tallest goalkeeper, stands at about 5'9", maybe 5'10", and that one right over the top of him. And that's Osi's last action as Gabrielis Mazonas will replace him.
Mazonas in. Also, Camara checking in for the Reds.
Camara will replace Sidney Agre.
I want to remind you, coming out to a home game, stop by Lost Boys Cider for a locally crafted experience before or after the games.
Osi Nachi Onwudiwe. Goal scored in the 57th minute. Osi Nachi Onwudiwe scores for the Reds. That goal scored.
Onwudiwe, a name that's going to be called time and time again down in Blacksburg in the coming years. He's committed his to ply his trade for the Hokies.
It's part of the ACC.
And what a competitive soccer conference that is, one of the top in the nation, and it is a testament to his quality to come out of, again, another Alexandria, Virginia product. Played at Episcopal High School, got to play on the beautiful fields there, home base for training for both the Club World Cup and the World Cup in just a year's time. So
the Reds played some matches over there last summer.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful field. You've got the stadium as well as the practice fields and the grass fields, and just so many options on that beautiful campus down on Quaker Lane. This is going to be an uncomfortable situation for Dream, one that they're not accustomed to, having to pick the ball out of their net and defend here in the NPSL.
Kose Hase feeding off toward Martinez.
Vandehei thought about going to ground for that one. Thought better of it, realized he was going to be in late, sliding in.
Shepard Lewis dancing with it. And therefore, the Reds was Ezahir.
Oh, to keep that in play, Logan Starren doing so well.
Starren's had a pretty good match.
Plays this one long, and
here's Camara. Camara looking to push the pace. And Herrera to scoop it up.
Camara's first touches, not the ones he would have hoped for. Had the opportunity for an assist if he had played that ball in early to Mazonis. Harbin Rodriguez preparing to sub in for Dream. Another former ASA Academy player, won the Zoteca Award that will be awarded this weekend to one of the other many Academy members here at ASA, a full scholarship for college.
Where did he go to college?
He is currently at Shenandoah University out in Shenandoah County, as Laculi will come off to be replaced by Rodriguez. And Papa Toure comes on for the Reds, replacing Holden Woodings.
Alexandria Red substitution in the 61st minute.
Nick Beal, another
Leaving the match.
Alexandria Academy player, coming in as clearly trying to shake things up with some ASA blood.
For Virginia Dream FC also in the 61st minute.
Just miscommunication there between Starren and Kamara.
At number 9,
you know, I think that's an interesting sub for Dream. I thought that their right winger was one of their most impactful players.
And number 16, Nicholas Beal.
Want to remind you, Ortho Virginia, proud partner of Alexandria Soccer Association. Ortho Virginia orthopedic specialist. Treat your bone, muscle, joints, and back pains and strains. Ortho Virginia is the largest orthopedic practice in Virginia. To schedule an appointment, visit orthovirginia.com. orthovirginia.com. Ezahir over toward Vandehei.
Vandehei left with some work to do.
Clearing it out, Winter.
Got to be quicker from Toure. He's got to play quicker there. Brady now charging forward. Yeah, I thought Shepard Lewis did really well for Dream there throughout the first 60 minutes or so. I'm wondering if that's maybe a planned substitution for minutes or to rest him for one of their upcoming matches, because he was really impactful. He was really getting at the back line for the Reds. A bit surprised to see him to be the one to come off.
Especially here in the second half, he was effective.
Yeah, he really was starting to come alive. It's one of those moments, I think if you let him continue and play through it, he might be able to get on the end of something.
Herrera.
Vandehei so dangerous in the air. The long ball strategy, bold.
So you say he's a player that put in a lot of work off the field to bulk up.
Yeah, that's definitely a collegiate weight room, Division I strength coach transformation from last season to this season, and it really makes a makes a big difference. He's come back strong. He's good in the air. He's dangerous. He's just more dangerous than he's ever been.
O'Neal being aggressive, as is Colosio. Martinez. Herrera. Feeding off over toward Jarbin Rodriguez.
Yeah, and Logan tried to be shifty there, a little head fake.
– 1-0 Reds, playing in the 65th minute.
Gregorius Chatsopoulos, normally a central defender, making the transition to center mid, playing for Starin. And, you know, this team is so deep for the Reds that it's going to be hard for guys to get in their preferred position, but if you're of the quality, you're going to get in the field somewhere.
Is it also one of those things that you can get to be effective at more than one spot?
Yeah, and you know, Chatsopoulos is a player that typically he's a center back, but he's a ball-playing center back. So sliding up into the midfield isn't really changing that much for him. The only thing that's changing is there's a lot more of the game happening behind him that he's got to be aware of. When you're center back, most of the game's in front of you. But this is clearly a defensive substitution for the Reds as they look to go a little bit more defensively minded and keep things locked down, defend this 1-0 lead as they look to take 3 points and dream their first loss of the season.
It's a tongue twister.
That'll keep you on your toes.
As Winter.
Oh, shaky header in midfield.
Works it over Fillerman.
One thing I'd like to see the Reds do a little bit more is drop Papa Torre in as like a false 9 and almost go 4-4-2 with a diamond in midfield. Sit a little bit deeper, but keep your other two forwards a little bit more engaged. Yaga deflecting that one in, and now it's 3v3.
As Camara gets rolling.
Camara's so pacey. This is where Chatsopoulos, you can see he's not necessarily a center mid. True center mid would be looking to overlap there. I would say that's the one place you really see the gap between Dominguez and Winters' distribution, and that's the difference between the level of a player like Dominguez. His distribution is just as good as his shot stopping, and that's a big part of the game where at that Division I level. As you'll see, Winters is a little bit lower. It's driven out instead of coming in at a higher reception point for the player in the field, and you get kind of you get differing opinions. Some say that driven ball is easier to receive, while others will beg to differ and say it's a little bit more complicated. Beal trying to lay that one off too much.
What say you?
So, you know, it has, for me, it has to do more with the spin on the ball, but I would say when you're dealing with guys at this level, at this height, it's got to be that higher ball, because if it's at a lower point, guys are going to climb up. They're going to jump 2 feet off the ground and receive it calmly. So it's got to be at that higher point to allow your tall, strong players to contest it.
There's Camara. Now Mazonis.
Mazonis losing the battle of strength there, one he's not used to losing necessarily.
Also just checking into the match a few minutes ago, so maybe not quite into the full rhythm of things.
Yeah, again, though, it also has to do with what you get used to with the players around you. And, you know, I don't know the makeup of his Case Western reserve squad, but by and large,
Here's Madzonis again.
by and large, a lot of the D3 rosters will be slightly smaller players, so he might not be having to serve it quite as high.
Keene Knight State Farm is your local State Farm agent with a team of over 50 years of combined experience offering personalized insurance solutions in multiple languages. We strive to help you protect what matters most. Give us a call for your auto, home, business, and life insurance needs. One 0. Alexandria has the lead here on Virginia Dream FC. Playing in the 70th minute.
Change it right back for the Reds. Alonzo Aguilar, U19, experienced U19 though, coming into the game as Fillerman makes way for Dream. And both Brady and Heinz. Brady off. Eza here off. Heinz coming in for the Reds. Bucknell Bison.
Part of the Patriot League.
Patriot League, part of that new team, new setup, new coaching staff, couple years. They've been there now and just totally changed the dimension of that Bucknell Bison program. It used to be a program that liked to play over the top, in the air, very direct, and now they're much more synced up, trying to play the modern game, move the ball, be more proactive to connect and play forward.
And number 4, Adam Abdeloui. For the Alexandria
It's a pressure first touch for Heinz, having to clear that in his own box.
Number 2, Conrad Brady. And number 5, Moad Ezahir. Entering the match for the Reds, number 4, John
over in the
Heinz,
corner.
And number 24, Alonzo
Rodriguez.
Aguilar.
And that's going to get in.
Good finish from Beal. Slides that one in. Calm, composed finish from the AU Eagle.
Scoring in the 72nd minute to tie things up at 1.
And it just shows smart play to target the substitute. Heinz just came into the game, has to make adjustments. He's getting up to the speed of the game. He's getting up to the speed after having been warming up, but also not quite ready to come in necessarily. And
scored by number 16, Nicholas Beal.
Another
goal scored in the 73rd minute.
Another danger moment as Aguilar giving away a corner.
That goal is scored in the 73rd minute.
100%. Big lad.
Now here's Rodriguez fishing back. O'Neal
sitting a lot deeper this half.
Vandehei getting in there for the Reds.
That was taken quite quickly as they look to get a mismatch there with Chatsopoulos marking Kosehese.
Now here's Martinez and diving for it, Winter.
Strong hand from Winter.
O'Neal going over for Virginia Dream.
O'Neal serves in a good set piece.
One of the more veteran players, as we've talked about throughout the match. There's Camara.
Committing 10 men forward now. Dream, they're really chasing the 3 points. Got there first and feel that the opportunity is on for more.
Aggressive move there from Ramirez Gamez.
Yeah, he is a bit fortunate there to not get more than that. That was very late and very hard. Heinz late to that as Rodriguez gets right by him.
Now the Reds looking to push the pace.
Shifty move from Torre.
And much to the dismay of the Dream bench.
You know, the appeals on that one, that was late. That was from behind. Clear foul from our vantage point and from the camera's vantage point as well, as I'm sure all of you at home saw, as a yellow card issued for dissent there.
That's Torre. We'll get set.
Assumed distance. Second time that assumed distance has not been acknowledged.
Torre.
A yellow card caution has been issued to Virginia Dream FC's number 29, Henry Walksman. That card occurs in the 77th minute.
Chatsopoulos does well there.
Chatsopoulos.
Kamara trying to cross that one on the ground.
(1-1). Reds scoring in the 57th minute, 72nd minute score for the Dream. Where we stand now. Heinz.
Got to be a little quicker from Heinz. It's a good final ball, but he put himself under pressure to get there. Now the Reds committing numbers forward.
Rodriguez and O'Neal coming over. Physical move there from O'Neal, and Torres, or I should say Herrera, able to get hands up. Reds fans, support ASA Access for All initiative by joining the Red and Blue Club. To make a donation, visit alexandria-soccer.org/donate. Again, that's alexandria-soccer.org/donate. Your generosity supports free programming, scholarships, faculty improvements, as well as facility improvements, state-of-the-art equipment, and more.
You also get a lovely gold car magnet instead of the typical red, white, and blue ASA logo. If you join the Red and Blue Club at a certain point, you get the lovely gold ASA logo car magnet to signify that you are a top member of the Red and Blue Club.
Does it get you anything other than bragging rights? I mean, it's about bragging rights. You drive around with a gold emblem on your car.
Well, it also is about, doing what's right for the youth and for the players and their opportunities,
and the bragging rights.
Access for All initiative. But the number of times I've had someone say, "Hey, can I just have one of those gold magnets?" And I have to say, you know what? You can't just have one, but you can donate at alexandria-soccer.org/donate and get one just for yourself, for your car.
Does it have to be under one donation, or can you string it out? Can you pledge and then string it out over a few months and pay it down?
That would be a great question for our development person, Emily. You can find her email on the ASA website.
And then at what point would you get the gold magnet? These are questions that just, might pop up in the overall scope of things. Here's Turner. Now Vandehei.
Split to the 6th there. Clever ball from Winter. Just shows one quick pass and the Reds are in transition getting forward.
Here's Turner. He's had a pretty good match here this evening. That's Onis. And that's going to go just wide.
Good reaction save there from Herrera. Had him dead to rights there. Camaro sliding that one across the front. Got down very well.
Virginia Dream FC substitution in the 81st
Going into play for the Dream is going to be Angel Chavez.
Entering the match, number 11, Angel Chavez.
Chavez, one of the leading goal scorers last season, scored against the Annapolis Blues in the final. He's also a key player in their UPSL side, getting late minutes on as Yaga lifts that one right over. We almost forgot to mention, I just received my reminder, if you join the Red and Blue Club, you get invited to exclusive member events.
So you better have an open calendar as well.
Get to meet all the big names here at Alexandria Soccer. That's the moment the Reds need to step up and press. That's a poor pass back, and the Reds need to punish those sort of passes. It's just late in transition. That should have been a shot on goal or a chance for the Reds.
Now pushing it is the Dream.
Aguilar did well, and because the Reds don't step up on that last one, they're caught in transition defending in a dangerous moment, and now they're defending a corner here. It just shows you have to do the little things. You've got to press when the moments are right if you want to take your chances, and that's one that if Dream gets something here, they'll be wishing they could have had back. It's not that moment. It's the one before that caused it.
Playing in the 83rd minute. Tied up at 1 apiece as Bradley Winter
This is one of those games that both teams have had their chances. Both teams would wish to take 3 points from this, but at the same time, it's also a situation. It's also a situation where both teams would be happy to take a point out of this. It's been hotly contested.
It's been an aggressive match throughout, but you can sense the urgency over the last few minutes.
That's because both teams really feel they need something here.
Winter
wayward headers in midfield have been giving Dream some problems. It's their midfielders keep sliding the Reds forwards in. It's got to be about ball control. It's got to be about settling that ball, heading it towards one of your teammates. It sounds elementary, but you want to play it to someone in the same color shirt that you're in. That has not happened on those headers the past couple times through the middle. Mazzonis taking not quite the best angle there. He was expecting a more forward-thinking pass.
Now O'Neal for the Dream.
O'Neal sliding into that double pivot 6 roll again. It's Kamara so good there with the stretch, and he's got numbers that pass a little behind him.
Rodriguez. Now Kamara.
That's a shocking decision to allow play to carry on with 2 balls on the field. That's an easy moment.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Van de Heij picking up the yellow.
Playing in the 86th minute. Tied at 1. Here's Herrera. Now Martinez feeds off to Kose Hase.
Caution has been issued to Alexandria's number 15, James Van de Heij.
Yellow card to James Van de Heij.
87th minute.
Card issued in the 87th minute.
Coach C.J. Taylor having some choice words for his players about not being able to connect their passes and play on the ground.
For the Dream, here's Rodriguez. Looking to scoot it over toward O'Neal. Now Torre for the Reds.
Doing too much there, Papa Torre.
O'Neal. Now Martinez working past Mazzonis.
That ball will be put into the waste treatment water on the other side.
It's nice.
No, that jokes aside, though, that's actually where the tunnel entrance opens up, where the tunneling apparatus Hazel tunneled under the Potomac River will be here on the grounds of Limerick Field before the end of the summer.
It's good to know.
If you want to see what a tunneling machine looks like, that you will be able to do so here. Handball called. Is Akinkoye. That's the second time he's delayed a restart. Shocking to not see him pick up a yellow for that one.
Van de Heij.
No, just enough from the limited times I do officiate to know that one's got to be automatic. To ask for the Reds to be called for that little touch away after the clear and obvious blocking of a forward pass. A bit surprising there.
There's O'Neal.
Wrapped around that well, Van de Heij to clear that. That's a tough ball to clear at that angle.
Roy tumbling down. Apologize for the technical difficulties here at Limerick Field. 3 minutes of added time here as the Reds and Dream level at 1.
It would not be a true broadcast if we didn't have at least one little
hiccup, if you will.
This is a hiccup. The last couple games would be not classified as hiccups. That was about 10 minutes of lag, or 10 seconds of lag time, not about 10 minutes as we've had in earlier games this season. It's Winter opting to distribute long.
Heinz.
Kamara behind that. Chatsopoulos did well there to get up. Undercut by the Dream forward, already on a yellow card. Again, failure to respect the distance from Beal. As the Reds are going to commit numbers forward on this one.
Thoughts on the strategy as Rodriguez looks to fire it in there?
Well, what do you have to lose is the real question. It's dying moments of the game, in stoppage time.
Rodriguez.
Yaga headed it across.
Vanda High feeds off to Rodriguez. And Rodriguez
made an absolute meal of that. Jump in the air, twist around, scream loud enough, you might just get the foul.
There's Rodriguez for the Dream.